Hello everyone. In this video, I will show you how you can contribute to an open source project in GitHub. So I will use our group's new project Comic as example. So our goal is that we want to contribute our local code to this project, and we want to upload our code in this example folder, in this example directory. So if we click this example folder now, so we can see actually there's nothing code inside. There's only readme, which is written by me. Just show you how example of about how you can how you should write a decent readme file for your code. But there is no code inside. So our goal is that suppose we have write a code and check in, and we want to check in our code to this folder. I will show you how to do that. So to do this, I recommend you use the GitHub desktop, which provides you some GUI to perform some basic Git operation. So basically, I use the command line of Git a lot to use GitHub, because this is the basically the only way to do that for my Linux server. But if you are not very familiar with the command line, and if you are using like Windows or macOS, you can just directly use the GitHub desktop, which will save you a lot of time, and it's very easy to do a lot of stuff regarding the GitHub and Git. So I have downloaded the GitHub desktop now. So and I also log in another GitHub account, which is not an administrator of the comic project. So this is the newest GitHub account, and we will use this GitHub account to checking out code. So here, there should be a login interface, and if you cannot find it, just if I'm using the Mac, and in the preference I can sign in, log in your GitHub account, and it will link to the browser to check in, to sign in the desktop. And at the first time, it will ask you to authorize the access. And this is not my first time, so I can just open the GitHub desktop to log in. So now we want to contribute our code to this project. So the first thing, we need to clone the project to our local device, to local directory. So so here we should provide like a URL to clone the project, so we can find the URL of the code here, of our project here. So just click the code and just copy it, clone of HTTPS, just clone it, and copy that. Okay, so the local path by default is in the documents GitHub, and this is the project name. This is by default, so you can feel free to change it anytime if you want. So I just clone it. So we can see here, this is the main interface of the desktop. So the easiest way to check in the code is that we can just modify it, and the code modify that directory in our local device. So here we can click this show in the finder. If we show you the finder, so we can see here we clone all the code to our local device, and it contains all the directory of this project now. For example, in this project we have content delivery, we have depth, example, holographics. So basically we have cloned all the data, all the code in our local device. So we want to checking our code to example, right? So we just double click it. So in the example here, we can just copy our written code to this directory. Yeah, so in this way we can just add our code to the local device. So now we need to put our code to the directory, to the object in the GitHub. So here, so we can see there's some change. and the desktop will automatically to detect the change you made. So we upload a lot of data, a lot of code file to this directory, so it can detect this such change. So the next thing we need to do is to commit our code and push our code. However, given that we are not an administrator of the project, so here it will show you don't have the right access to commit, so want to create forks. So this is because if you want to contribute to an open source project, the first thing you need to do is to fork the project to your local to your GitHub account. So if you want to fork in the GitHub, in the website, just click fork here. Yeah, but in the GitHub, but in the desktop again, just right, you can just click this create the fork. So fork this repository and to contribute to the parent project, because if you click this, it will only contribute to your own GitHub account. But now we want to contribute to the parent project, which is the true project we want to contribute. So we just click here and continue. So now we have fork our project. So here we can observe that in our local directory we have a commit, yeah, and this is the parent for this commit is our GitHub account, but if you should fork from the real project. So this is the fork one. So the first thing we need to do is we need to commit our code to our commit, then then submit a pull request to upload all of our code to the parent commit. So actually it's very easy. We can just write some your commit information message, for example, like let's just say checking code to example, right? Description is optional. You can just just copy. So we can commit to main and it's commit. Next thing we need to push. You can just click here, push the orange. So push here. Okay. So if we refresh our repository again, we will show in our commit the example has our checking code. All the code we need, we want to contribute has been uploaded to our commit. So here we show that this branch is one commit ahead of commit XR. It means that this branch, which means our commit, is one commit ahead of the parent commit. So we can just click this contribute and open pull request. We want to pull our code to the parent commit. So we open pull request and we can drag something and we can create a pull request. And okay, just click it. And you can see here we have jumped to the parent commit and the pull request has been shown. This is the pull request we just submit, and it should be, and it's pending for review. So in my side, I'm here is another GitHub account which is the administrator of the commit. So in my side, I can review the pull request. I can review the code. I can review all the code you want to upload, submit, and I will check your code. So if everything looks good, I can just click this merge pull request. So confirm merge. So after I done that, your code, so such pull request will be closed because it has been finished. And in the parent commit, if we click example, you can see all of our code has been uploaded to the parent commit project, and you will also be the contribute here, you will also be the contributor here. So after this, we have done all the checking coding, and we have submit our code to this open source project. So several things I would like to emphasize that if you want to like contribute to a code, and of course unique code should be very useful, or should be aligned with the topic of the open source project. And another thing is that you need to write a very decent README to let administrator and other users to know the purpose of the code. This is an example of README, which is written by me, which contains like the basic elements I think should be included in any README file for any code. So at the beginning, you should write an introduction about like the purpose of your code. Then you write a project structure, and to let the users know the structure of your code and what's the purpose of each like Python file or each folder, what's the purpose of each file. And next, there should be a quick start to let the users know how to run your code. For example, what dependency you need to install, or what header file you need to install, things like that, to let the users know how they run your code. And another thing is that in the GitHub we have a lot of open source projects, and basically, and we sometimes we borrow a lot of ideas, and we get motivation for a lot of open source projects. So when you upload your code, you should indicate all code repository you have referenced. You should indicate the contribution of them. For example, you can just write this project is based on the code provided by blah 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 and the link to this repository. Yeah, for example, link to this repository to let the readers know, okay, if they want to check in the original repository, they can just jump into the original repository. The last is notes. You can write any additional information you want to provide for your project. So anyway, you need to write a clear README file to let users understand the purpose of your code, which I think is very important part for any open source project. The last thing is that if you feel this project or this video is very useful, please consider giving us a star by clicking here. Okay, thank you guys for watching, and I hope this video will help you understand how you can contribute to an open source project in GitHub. Thank you.